Okay, so this is my 1 week update, getting the Sublocade 300 milligram injection. It's been 7 days. I got it last Friday. Today, it's been a week. So I'm not showing my face, of course, so this is my backyard instead. So I didn't really talk about much except, in my first video, I introduced myself and what I'm doing and going through, and that I was about to get the shot. And then there's another video under my channel where I'm actually getting the shot, and it's really short. The PA filmed it for me. I was scared to get it, especially because the guy that got it before me, I could hear him in the next room, and he was screaming his head off. So it really gave me a good scare. It freaked me out quite a bit. I didn't want to get the shot after that, but I trust my doctor and did it anyway. And it really was not that bad. You have to think about all the things that you go through in active addiction, and then even in recovery with treatment barriers and people's opinions and pharmacies. I would take that injection any day over that. Now, did it hurt? Yeah. I don't know what that guy was screaming about, though. I mean, it didn't hurt that much more than getting an IV or, getting blood taken. It burned for a few minutes, it cramped a second, and then it went away. No big deal. Now, I did get cramping kind of feelings for a few days, but it really was mild. It wasn't even anything I would take Motrin for. And something really weird happened when I was driving home. About a half hour, 45 minutes after I got the injection, I was driving home, and all of a sudden I felt like I was in withdrawal. I was sweating. I got that weird feeling in my mouth that I get in pre-withdrawal when I know it's about to happen. I just felt really terrible. And I called the doctor, and by the time I was done, being paranoid and being on the phone, it went away. So I don't know if anybody else has ever been through that, but that's what I went through. And it was a really fleeting feeling, still worth getting it. I still recommend it. Now, 7 days later, my depot, the shot depot, has shrunken significantly. It is a lot smaller than it was when I first got it, the bump. It, did cramp for a few days, and then it felt like it was like rolling around in there or something. And now it's getting a lot smaller, and the nurse said that that's normal, totally normal. I'll kind of show you what it looks like without showing my face here. I don't know if you can even see it. It's right there. So it's a little tiny lump. Really no big deal, guys, and it goes away after a month, I hear, and it kind of breaks off. So I have to be honest, the medication isn't enough for me. Hate to admit failure, but I'm having to take a film a day. I really tried and gave it my all, but I want it to work, and I know that it does take a while to reach steady state, and this is normal. So I am taking 1 8 milligram Suboxone film a day, unfortunately. I'm trying to taper down though, now that it's been a week and I'm feeling a little more stable. So it's really hard because you don't know why the medicine is coming out. I mean, is it coming out because I'm walking around? Is it coming out because I woke up? How much is coming out at a time? It's hard when you have this thing in your body that has control and you don't. So it's like, God, what if I take this film and then this thing releases more medication and then it's too much? So I was really afraid for like the first day or two, even though I didn't feel like I thought I should. And I was on a really high dose of Suboxone, though. I mean, a lot of people are on lower doses than me. So I don't know, maybe that's what it is. So yeah, I'm hoping that I'll get better after the second shot. My second one's on November 21st, and I'll get another 300 milligram injection. And then I think we go 300 one more time, and then 100 or 100. I don't know. But guys, this really isn't that bad. And I don't know why anyone wouldn't do it if your insurance is paying for it. Because, even if you still have to take a film a day, I mean, a film a day, what's that? It's not that hard to get. It's not that expensive compared to what we have to go through normally, or being in active addiction or whatever. So to me, definitely worth it. I love not having to get up and wait for 20 minutes to have my coffee and be able to talk to my kids. And, I love it. I love not, planning things around when I need to dose, because I don't feel like talking about, that I'm on this medication and the stigma that goes with it. There are a lot of people in my life that do know about it, that know that I have so much clean time and how my story started and, things like that. But there's a lot of people that don't, and I just don't go there with them. So it's not that I don't want to show my face or don't want to tell everybody about it. I do tell the right people, but it's just a part of me that some people can't handle, so I don't talk about it. And there's people in my life that will use it against me, so I don't. So anyway, if you have any questions, just post it in the comments. I'd be happy to answer it. But I'm doing fine, and I have noticed a lot less side effects than I do with full-on Suboxone. I'm not as tired. I'm not as cloudy-headed. I'm not constipated and moody and just exhausted and waiting for it to be bedtime, and I feel like I have a lot more energy. I mean, I cleaned the whole house yesterday, and that's something I haven't had the motivation to do in a long time. I feel like I'm happier, I'm more clear-headed, I'm feeling my emotions a little bit better again instead of being numb. So, and I think that's for me. Everybody comes from a different place, so maybe this isn't right for everybody. I don't know. But for me, the whole journey started, if you care to know, that I was very young and very naive. I was very sheltered by my parents. I didn't know much about anything when I went out into the big world. And when I had just turned 20, I started dating a guy that I met at work. I was working at a bank, and he was a customer. And he asked me to go to a concert in Chicago, Dave Matthews Band. And I told him, I guess, but we'd have to start dating first. I'm not going to up and go to Chicago with you. I mean, at least I had the sense to say that at 20 years old. And then we were at the concert, and I got a blazing headache. It was horrible. And I told him, I said, I need to go home. I feel like I have a migraine or a headache or something. And he said, well, I have these pills in my pocket. They're like Motrin, but they work a little better. You'll feel great. And he gave me this little yellow pill. And many of you know what that is. It's Norco, Vicodin, hydrocodone. I didn't know anything about anything. I wasn't one to drink or party. I had never tried drugs in my entire life. I don't think I had even been drunk in my entire life. I always did what I was supposed to do. And every day, it seemed like at nighttime I would get this headache, and him and I would meet for dinner after work, and he'd say, I got one of those pills on me, and I would take it and not think about it stupidly. And one night, we couldn't meet up for dinner, weeks later, and bam, I was sick. I went to the hospital, I told them what was going on, and they deducted that I had opiate withdrawal. And that started a whole whirlwind of terrible that I just couldn't come back from. So one day, I'll skip all the middle parts right now, but one day I was about to do something terrible, and that I wasn't like me, and I decided to get help and go to rehab, and I never looked back. I put myself in outpatient rehab the next day. They started me on Suboxone, and that was it. I've never relapsed since, and I stopped taking the medication when I got pregnant with my 5-year-old. All by myself. I weaned off of it, but ever since I've gotten older and I have a lot more aches and pains and things going on, it's been a lot harder now, because I'm 38. I was 32 when that happened, before with my son. So harder now, and I'm in a situation in my life that doesn't lend to being sick very often. So that's what led me to treatment, and I've tried a lot of doctors, and the one that I have now is a godsend compared to the money grubbing jerks that I've tried. So I'm in a good place, and that's why Sublocade seems like the right choice for me, because it's kind of like giving you a freedom back. I posted in one of my groups where I help women that are pregnant or moms that are on the medication. I said that I'd always look out the window and watch these people, or out the car window, and they're walking down the street with their kids smiling and laughing and running around, and you think, man, they didn't have to dissolve a film under their tongue to do what they're doing right now. They didn't have to go to the pharmacy and get called a junkie under someone's breath, or, they didn't have to. And I think, that's the one thing that really baffles me the most about this medication, all of it, is that you go to a pharmacy, right? And they look at you like you're the biggest piece of garbage, and they don't really want to give you your medication, and they try to find every reason not to give it to you. And they give you the stink eye and the hardest time, and, or they tell you they don't have it, or, they have to order it, or they won't do a partial, and all these other crazy things. But then as you're getting your stuff together and putting your coat on, putting your wallet away, you finally do get it, or you don't, and you see the next person walk up and get their fentanyl or their oxy or whatever it is, and it, happy as can be, they don't care, they give them the medication, and, and the people are waiting in the parking lot to buy it, and the pharmacist knows that damn well. So I don't understand, pharmacists out there, what's the problem, to get on this medication and actually have a valid prescription from a doctor. I know I'm ranting here. You have to do things. I have to go to Smart Recovery. I had to go to 5 weeks of outpatient rehab every night, find a sitter for my kids for 3.5, 4 hours, and work full time. I had to do this stuff. I have to go to the doctor twice a month. I have never failed a drug test. I do Smart Recovery twice a week, just so I'm not around, some of the people that are in meetings in my area that are selling Subutex in the parking lot, and, not to be bombarded with this negativity that really affects and triggers me, but I still do it, and I do everything I'm supposed to do, and I go to every doctor appointment. I take and fail or pass every drug test, and I have the documentation to prove it. I have the doctor to prove it. And this medication is not a party. If you're taking it and you have this prescription and it's an everyday thing for you, it's not a party. It's not a good time drug. You're not getting high. There's no euphoria. There's side effects, and that's it. Side effects and not being in withdrawal. So what's the problem? I don't understand. I never will. You're okay with giving people an active addiction all kinds of powerful opiates and filling them early and all these other things that you don't even care. But when somebody that admitted to themselves and to a treatment center and probably to their family that they needed help, they did all the right things, and they have this valid prescription in their hand that they worked so hard for, why not celebrate that person?